Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Life in the Jungle Season 1, Episode 13. Hey, we gonna keep it rolling, and I know it was a bye week last week. Decided to take the week off.
Tell them where you went.
Tell him I was actually in Las Vegas. We planned a kind of a fellas trip there when the schedule came out and said, "Hey, let's go to Vegas." So we were out there. We had a good time. We were going to try to go to the game, but we didn't. We ended up watching the game at Stadium Swim at the Circa, where we had a cabana and we were had food and drinks and be able to watch the game on the 100 yard screen or whatever. So that was definitely cool. That was a great experience. I went to the guy Bengal Jim, who won Fan of the Year uh, for the Bengals organization. I was at his tailgate out there in Vegas, which had over 250 people. And I just want to shout out the Bengals Nation. I want to shout out the Who Dey Nation for traveling out there. We made it. We it was a lot of Bengals fans out there. It seemed like everywhere we went, somebody had on Bengals gear, and I know our organization gets a lot of backlash, gets a lot of negative publicity, but everything out there was positive. It shows that Bengals fans are on board with what this it seems like I don't want to say new regime, far as ownership, but I would say some younger blood in there that's a little bit more forward thinkers. And it seems like everything is starting to pay off, and the fans are buying in. It was great to see. It was great to see everybody out there come together, try to
So
get a
you
win,
see,
and actually come back with that win was great.
absolutely. Did you see Captain Obvious and the Hubei out there as well?
I didn't see Cap. I didn't see Cap. I didn't see the Hube either. Like I said, I saw Jim. I saw Tony the Tiger. I saw those guys. They were there. And we stopped and actually watched your Buckeyes and Bearcats game at a bar where Bengals fans were at, and a lot of Ohio guys were there.
Okay, we
So
are going to get right back to our beloved Bengals, but I want to bring up footnote about this story. Uh,
here you go.
so
Go ahead.
I
I'll let
got a
you have your
text message
moment.
from Cam. I barely heard from him when he was in Vegas. I know he was out there doing his thing, but he stumbled across this area where he was in Buckeye heaven via Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was a Buckeye bar.
And that's the first thing I said. I said, the plague is everywhere, huh, brother Cam? You just can't escape it. Because while Cam was in Vegas, I actually made the trip myself to our state capital and took in the environment and the pageantry at our state university and watched them uh, thrash the Michigan State Spartans
Yes, y'all did though.
6-7. It was a glorious environment, and I'm not being funny when I say this. When you go to college games, and it's no different in Clifton, when you see us playing, whether it's basketball or football, and Cam gives me a lot of crap. I was at the UC basketball game last week. He doesn't give me any credit for that, though. He knows I'm a loyal UC Bearcats basketball fan. But when you at these sporting events, man, and even what Cam was talking about out there in Vegas, everybody's on one accord. We have so many things that divide us throughout the week and the months and the year, constantly going at each other, bickering. That's what I love about sports, man. For whatever it is, those 3 hours that you're there, 2 hours, everybody's on the same accord. I was even sitting next to Michigan State fans, and they were cool. Now they left at halftime, because it was 49-0. But even they were getting into it like, man, oh, that was a beautiful punt right there. Did you see that, man? They had to have some kind of moral victory.
Right, right.
But yeah, shout out to sports fans everywhere, Bengals fans. So obviously, getting right into it, we had a pretty impressive performance by our Bengals coming off the bye week. A lot of people were asking me what the Bengals record was coming off of byes. I knew it wasn't that great. But as you said, this is a new regime, a lot of new faces and players. but we certainly had our concerns coming off of two very disappointing losses.
Yeah.
And they answered the bell. And when you look around the landscape of the league right now, it's not anything that Bengals fans should be, upset or worried about necessarily right now. There is razor thin difference between the Bengals and any other team in the AFC. What makes you a wild card versus a division leader right now is what? One game, half a game in certain instances.
Yeah.
The Bengals are in prime position still at 6-4. And oh, how lovely would it be to notch a third straight victory against those black and yellow boys and put them out of their misery, so to speak. So, I'm proud of the guys. But what stood out when you look back on Sunday that allowed the Bengals to get this victory and get back on track?
What stood out to me was the defense. I wanted to see how Lou's company would respond after a bye, in which 2 weeks where they didn't play well before that. You give up 405 yards, passing to Mike White, who we
Hmm.
have yet to see again, seems like.
He
And
said he should
then
be a first round pick.
right, 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 and and you give up, what you gave up to the Browns on the ground. It seems like you didn't have much resistance there. So, and you came in, facing a quarterback like Derek Carr, who's been playing extremely well. And to be able to neutralize that offense, yeah, Darren Waller got off, but he's one of the best in the league. We know that he's part of that big three, as far as the tight ends: Kittle, Kelsey, Waller. Not in that order because I think Kelsey's the best, but um, so he's gonna get his. But everything else, we neutralized that. We played well. Uh, Eli Apple had an interception. He played well. Like I said, I'm here to give credit when it's due. I'm gonna give it to you. That's what it is.
And why do you
Um,
think Travis Kelsey is the best tight end in the league? I'm not saying that he's not, but
I've clearly, I'm going by body of work. I'm looking at the last 3 or 4 years. He's been consistent. He's been at the top of his game. He
go
can
on and
block.
say what the real reason is, Cam.
He can block. Yeah, and of course he's from UC. I mean, the kid, the kid, that obviously, but no, I just think the defense played well. I was very happy with their performance coming after this bye week because we need the defense down the stretch. Like I said, they don't have to be top five, but they need to be top 15 or better headed down this stretch so we could be able to, be able to stay in ball games and pull out some of these victories.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of the defense, what did you think about Jesse Bates' admission that he wasn't locked in over the first half of the season, kind of pouting or upset about his contract situation? To actually come out and admit that,
It showed. I we never wanted to say it on this show, because we don't know what another man is thinking.
right?
But Jesse Bates is too good to be playing like how he has been playing. Now we saw some of the old Jesse Bates flash in this game, flying up, making tackles. I know on that third and one on that jet sweep, flew up, cut somebody down, force a fourth down, force a punt. Like I seen the Jesse Bates fly over the field and play with reckless abandon. I thought I saw him play like that week one. And after that, I didn't see it since.
Mm.
And now it looks like he's getting back to that. So if we can get that Jesse Bates, I'm fine with that. But you gotta understand where he's coming from too. He really thought he was getting that contract after Hubbard's deal got done. He really thought that he was next in line, and they'll get it done, and he'll come on his contract, and he'll be straight. And we can say be a pro. We can say show up to work every day, but that's hard. You talk about someone that maybe done built their I don't know his family status or anything. That someone that probably done built a family here, done got comfortable here. You've been here the last 4 years, and now you're thinking about the possibility of creeping in the back of your mind. I may not be here next year. Should I give all of my body up on the line, knowing that this team don't want me long term?
And
Those are
that's
just realistic thoughts.
yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say, and why I would never say that honestly about any professional athlete, but particularly football, where you are literally going out risking life and limb on a weekly basis, and you don't know if the next play could be your last. Now, listen, yes, you are getting paid to do that, and I know that Jesse Bates wasn't going out there, trying to mess up or throwing games. Nobody's saying, that, but he is a human being, and a lot of that will go through your mind and bother you, and Lord don't have anything else potentially, with family or anything else that, I'm sure still comes up for these guys, because they're normal human beings, too. So yeah, it can be tough, but hopefully he is locked in. Like you said, he had a much better game. The defense in general kind of reminded me of an old school game that you kind of give me a lot of crap for wanting to see, because there was one young Joe Mixon that got loose in
Yes.
this game and really salted that game away. And man, does Joe Mixon look good when he gets going. I just think it could
Yeah.
be a lot easier for us on a weekly basis if we feed Joe Mixon.
No, no, I agree. Joe Mixon looked good. He definitely looked good on Sunday. I just, one thing I like about the Bengals this year, outside of the Jets game where we were up 11 with like 5 minutes to go, um, once we get the lead in the fourth quarter, we are running the football when you have to run the football. When teams know you're running the football, they're getting first downs and they're getting touchdowns to close out football games. That's something that we really never had in the past. Even when we were rolling on those five straight playoffs. We just never seemed like we was able to close out games that way where we can keep the ball, we'll go on the long drive, punch it in and kind of, end the game. And we did that at Baltimore, we've done that at Oakland now where game was 16-13 in the fourth quarter. We eat a lot of clock. We punch it in with Joe Mixon. No, we throw a Jamar Chase touchdown. We go up 22-13. We get a stop. We get the ball back, and then we punch it in with Mixon when we know we're gonna run the ball just to end the game. So I like winning like that. I don't like backing in the wins. I like to really just take the win, and I thought they did. I thought they did that. And like you said, man, when Joe Mixon gets rolling, then everything else works itself out. The defense works itself out because if Mixon's getting first downs, they're getting rest. And then you can play action off of that and things like that. So, yeah, Joe Mixon, I would like to see him get his respect and go to the Pro Bowl this year as well.
Absolutely, the clock management stood out. I'm very hard on young one Zach Taylor. Have been the majority of his tenure here in Cincinnati, but he did a phenomenal job on Sunday of, especially when the Bengals finally did get some separation. Not trying to be cute, staying with the run game, controlling the clock, eating the game up, and getting out of Dodge. So I really want to give a shout out to Zach Taylor, because at the beginning, Joe was not slashing the Vegas defense the way he was down the stretch. So it would have been very easy for him to go away from the run game as he's done, in previous, games that we've seen, but he did not do that. So he stuck with a formula, and that opened things up. It was also nice to see Tyler Boyd get
Yeah,
involved again in the game plan. There's no way that you should ever walk out of a game having only targeted Tyler Boyd twice. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep. I agree. Get to these comments. What's up, Enrico? Though, watcher of the show. Uh, we got James Summers there. We go beat the snot out of Pittsburgh on Sunday. We got an opportunity to. Um, they really don't pose any threats on offense, not to my opinion. But we'll get to talking about Pittsburgh here in a second. Henry says as long as Burrow limits the turnovers, we will win. I agree. We had a fumble early. I was like, oh boy. But we quickly got to. But give credit to the front four of the Raiders, which is very good. We could arguably say the best in the league far as getting to the quarterback. There are two edge rushers as far as Crosby and Yannick Ngakwe.
Now,
So
they are talented, but I want to ask a question before I forget, and it goes along with
sure.
that. Now, let's be honest. When you look at other games across the league, does it still seem like to you that our QB1 is getting touched up a little bit more than you see on some other playoff or elite teams making a push? I don't see them kind of taking that pounding. So I just want to again maybe say, are we okay right now? We got a Dingy stepping in for Carmen Jackson right now. I don't know if Jackson is still hurt or they're just leaving Hakeem in there at this point up front. But what is your comfort level with the way the line is protected still?
I don't. For me, I look around the league. QBs are getting hit. I don't know if it's about the amount of times they're passing, or I've said it before on the show. I don't know if the defensive ends are just that good. Because, like I said, there's only a handful of offensive lines where you say, okay, that quarterback's not getting touched. Like Patrick Mahomes is getting touched this season. Like there, he is. He's back there running for his life. Uh, Lamar Jackson too, running for his life. So there's a lot of teams where we think, okay, their line is good, and they're running for their lives. So I would say he's getting hit more than you would like. Of course, I think we all have that trauma or that PTSD from last season with
When
him
I
on the
saw him
ground
get
at
up and,
Washington.
and limp away, I said, "Oh Lord, like
Yeah,
come on."
yeah, I seen. I said, "Oh, Joe, okay though, Joe, okay though," and it was the same. It was the same knee, you
Mm,
know. So, but I'm not. Look, the line could be better, but it's not. It's by far not the worst. I think he. Do I like him getting touched that much? No, but when I look around, I'm probably say outside of Dak, um, I mean, even Baker Mayfield getting beat up. I mean, they're a good run blocking team, but we talk about Cleveland line, but Baker Mayfield getting beat up. He injured now,
yeah,
so I look at it. I I I think he's getting hit pretty much standard, almost as any other quarterback. I mean, and some less than other. I'm not saying the line is perfect. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I don't think he's getting killed back there. No, and I think Joe could do a better job of getting rid of the football in some instances as well.
probably, and it's a fair assessment. I just wanted to get your take on it because obviously, as we've already mentioned, and also big up in the offensive line, they were able to close out the game when they got
Mhm.
ahead and kept feeding Joe Mixon to get the dub and get on out of Sin City. So again, they are certainly, like you said, by far not the worst, but still concerned about our QB1. So um, I thought that was a confidence builder overall, though. I mean, it
Big
has to
win.
be, right after the two previous performances, and to get out there and have domination of another team that's kind of was in a similar spot record wise. And the Raiders have obviously dealt with a lot of, shall we say, off the field distractions and turmoil this season. So they were desperate as far as trying to get a win and not allow their season to slide off track either. So when you have two teams in that position, it was really good to see the Bengals on the road go out there, remain focused, and separate themselves, and kind of show, hey, we're gonna be in this until the end. And that's kind of what I still recommend to Bengals fans at this point is to take it week by week. Don't get too high, don't get too low. This is still a very young ball club, so there's going to be times where you just see some bonehead things, and you're like, man, they're better than that, and yes, they are, but it's going to happen, with this team that's still finding its way and learning how to win some of these ball games. And to be 6-4 right now, we've had a lot of games where there were situations or the game even going down to the end, like going back to the Jacksonville game on Thursday night. We know probably even Joe said, hey, previous years, that's a loss.
Mhm.
We don't get that done. So you like to see, although we've had some heartbreakers this year, the Green Bay game, a few other games, got away from us, that they still had the ability to bounce back and they're locked in.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And we get to some of the comments uh, here. So we're healthier than Pittsburgh, and the energy in the jungle about to be crazy this Sunday. I do agree. I do agree. The energy is about to be crazy. It's gonna be a hostile environment for sure.
It was a good
Uh,
week for Ohio sports in general last week.
yeah, absolutely. It definitely was. Henry says, I mean, that Browns game was tough. They got Clowney and Garrett. We did better versus Oakland. I mean, he meant Vegas. He did correct himself. Another comment. Versus Vegas, I'm content with the line. Okay, we got one person that's content here. We got Chris Taylor says we know the line needs addressing. It hasn't been as bad as recently, but not getting younger. Joe needs to do his part and get rid of the ball. Now, the biggest key about the offensive line is you look at a few pieces. You look at Riley Reef. Was he a 1 year stopgap? Um, you look at basically from center on over to right tackle. There would be something that possibly needs to be addressed. um, we look at the Trey Hopkins situation. I understand he's coming back from a knee, but he's just seems like he's just been struggling all year with no signs of getting better. You know, really no indication of that, unfortunately. And then you look at the right guard position. Jackson Carmen is not hurt. I'm here to tell you that right. I'm here to tell you that right now. Jackson Carmen is not hurt. They love Adeniji. They love what he brings. I think Frank Pollock loves him. I think Zach Taylor loves him. He's the starting right guard until otherwise. Now and then you look at the right tackle position. Now that's a question mark. Now, do you take Carmen and put him back to where he started his college career at right tackle, or we've discussed Deontay Smith, who's played every position on the offensive line that can play tackle.
I think that would be a better option, seeing as, and we talked about this many a times off the record, usually revolves around young one Panay Sewell when we had this conversation.
Hmm.
But I'm not a big fan of shuffling guys on the offensive line. And I'm talking about college or pro, unless a guy is that talented and versatile enough to do so and has experience doing so. But don't have a guy play one position his entire career and then switch him and then say, well, what's wrong with him? You're asking him to switch, mental muscle memory on top of all that, doing it at the highest level. It's gonna take some time. So with Carmen, I don't know if you're gonna make him a guard, make him a guard. There's not many people that were slick enough like another Bengals franchise great, Andrew Whitworth, to just plug and play wherever.
Yeah,
So I think that that's something they need to be careful of. It'd be nice to see Deontay Smith when he comes back off of injury, if he's still the same. And in Trey Hopkins' defense, somewhat. Yes, he struggled mightily this year, but most ACLs, they tell you, even though the medicine and surgery and techniques behind it have come a long way, it takes about a year for you to get back to normal. I've seen it in other positions as well. We had another franchise great in Geno Atkins that certainly first year coming back off of his ACL was not the same player. We even saw,
no,
Pac-Man Jones get in his face and let him know that when the Bengals lost that playoff game against the Colts in 2014, and then all of a sudden in 2015, Geno was back to his Pro Bowl self. So you hope that at a certain point, Hopkins bounces back, but I'm sure it's something the Bengals are thinking about addressing, in the draft or free agency going forward.
yeah, absolutely. And this is a good point too. Henry Colo says Isaiah Prince has been solid when he's in. I know they use him as a tackle eligible. Uh, don't start, don't start. But no, but he do come in as tackle eligible and on run plays anyway. He does a good job.
It looks really
Now
good.
you possibly could throw him in the mix too, because I know Chris Taylor says I feel free agency is a better route than go to the draft if we want to win down the line. I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I just feel like the Bengals feel like they got some pieces in the building that can, I guess, possibly replace Reef if we decide to let him walk and not extend him for an extra season. But he has been solid when he's been in. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Um, speaking of the game, I do have an issue. We played a good game, played a sound football game, did very disciplined. I don't think we had any penalties. I think that popped up as well. That's like the second game we had where we didn't have penalties. Um, the first 15, I tell you, I'll talk to it all about time. The game script, I thought offensively, the first 15, what you draw up, I thought it was bad. I didn't. I don't understand why we can't get off to quick starts. Um,
How
It's
many
like we
games
had
this
we had
year?
2 weeks to cook something up.
How many
And
games though this year, other than maybe the Detroit game, did we come right out and just strike instantly?
no,
You know,
I understand. But it's later. It's go time now. It's second half of the season.
and as you mentioned, you had 2 weeks to get this one together and cooked up. So
Right,
I'm with
right.
you now. Something slightly related to that, a parallel argument. We've always joked about how QB1, who we both, love, Joe needing to get that one mulligan out of the way early
He had to
on.
get it out. There it was.
Well, it was just a fumble this time. It was not an interception. So, there's always room for improvement, but he did, I think, learn from his previous games and leading the league in interceptions going into the game, not to add to that, tally, which was nice,
Yeah,
to see. So, with Zach, I really don't understand what it is. I just have a theory, and it could be wrong. I think because he's so innovative on the offensive side of the ball, and he comes from the Sean McVay school of thought. I really think that sometimes he outthinks himself and tries to get too cute or too fancy, and then he has to settle back in as the game was going along. And you just hope that not too many momentum swings have taken place at that point,
right.
to get us out of sorts. But I really think that's what it is. Like a lot of people will come in like an Andy Reid or something like that. You're right. That first 15 or Bill Belichick, they've seen something on film. They're coming in to attack. It's gonna work until you adjust and stop. On the opposing side of
Yep.
the ball. Maybe that's not Zach's, thing. Maybe his, scripted is, hey, we saw something, but we're gonna come out, we're gonna try, a few different things, throw something out there that they haven't seen on film, and when it doesn't work, he kind of reels it back in and has a normal game plan. That's me trying to give an olive branch to Zach at this point.
No, yeah, because the play call I love was the fake flea flicker, but Mixon
That is
ended up
the first
slipping and
time.
falling. But those, that
That
was
is
real
the
slick.
first time
That
I've
could have had
ever
a lot of
seen
yardage.
that. Yeah, and I've
So
been watching football for over 30 years on all levels, and I've never seen a fake flea flicker in my
yeah,
life. I liked it though.
yeah, I did too. It was slick. Henry Cole says here, I hate those wide receiver, basically the jet sweeps. They
Ah,
barely worked. The one with Chase was clutch, but on a 3rd and 5, let QB one sling it, man. No, I agree. To a certain extent, like if it's 3rd and 1, we don't need to be jet sweeping. I seen that this weekend. 1st and 10, 2nd and 7s, 6, or something like that, or 2nd and 3. You want to try to just sweep or something like that. That's fine, but um, when it's
that's
third
a
and one,
great point though. Not to cut you off that he brought up because I almost forgot, but I did want to talk about that this week on this episode. Throw that out. I am tired of seeing that Jamar Chase jet sweep inverted reverse. He's not that type of wide receiver. Okay, he's not Dub. He's not one of those shifty slot type wide receivers to do that. That's not what you brought Uno here to do. And I have very rarely seen that work. If maybe once this year when they do that to him, like stop. It's not getting him involved. It's not getting him confidence. I don't want to see
I
that.
like it to Boyd.
Boyd is a better option because he is a slot wide receiver, and you can still have Uno and Higgins on the outside to where the defense can't necessarily key in or be waiting for the handoff to happen, to Boyd. They still have to, play honest. And also, this one hand toss pitch to Joe Mixon,
This your
Zach,
favorite play. This
Zach
your
loves
favorite pitch
that
play.
play. No, you know what? And again, this is my old school coming out. I hate it. Okay, because if you're gonna do a switch, I'm old school. I want to do the Vince Lombardi, the old
If
USC.
you can't get a yard, you don't deserve to win the
Hey,
game.
tell him, coach. Hey, Student body right. Okay, we're going right. Send everybody right, and let the running back make the cut. But this, pitching the ball out to Joe, no lead blocking, no nothing. I don't like that play because it doesn't do anything. He's making his first cut in the backfield. I'm always worried about somebody knocking the pitch down or intercepting that and going back the other way, and it just looks ugly. Stop running that. I don't want
Yeah.
to see it anymore.
No, no, no. I agree with. I agree with you, man. Especially like I said, when it's when you just need a yard and you pitch it back 5 to get 1. It don't really make much sense to me. But hey, sometimes they see something we don't see. They get paid, millions of dollars. So I understand that. But yeah, I would like to see plunge ahead, especially on short yardage situation. Um, for you in this game, was there anybody that stood out to you this game that you thought, kind of, stuck out from the others outside of Joe Mixon? Obviously, Joe Mixon came to play. He won FedEx Ground Player of the Week. Shout out to him on that. But was there anybody else that stood out to you?
Absolutely. Well, you already mentioned two of them. It's going to be funny to go back and talk about this, but through the course of the game, you saw a lot of tackle eligible plays. Zach and Brian Callahan saw something on film to where they could exploit that talented Oakland defensive front, brought an extra offensive tackle in to help open those run lanes for Joe Mixon. So I want to give a shout out to somebody you already mentioned, one Isaiah Prince, who set out last year due to the pandemic. He opted out, has come back and been a very valuable, versatile piece for the Bengals this year. I think he went to college but I could be wrong. But and also defensively, he gets a lot of crap. But hey, man, Eli Apple played starting corner again on the other side of Awuzie and
Yep.
had a pretty good game and had an interception. Now I know where he went to school also, but we won't get into that. But those two individuals I thought stepped up and played a tremendous role in the game. Somebody and a group of guys that you wouldn't think out of our normal cast of stars really played an integral part. I think it's just coincidence they happen to go to the same school, but whatever.
Hey, they played well. They're in the NFL now, so and they're Bengals. So I give them all the respect in the world. Regardless of where they went to school. But no, they definitely played well. And like I said, and for Eli Apple individually, I'm happy for him. Like I said, he takes a lot of verbal abuse um, throughout the fan base, and you got to think he was a top 10 pick who necessarily, had some bumps and bruises, and really went through a lot of things there mentally. So I'm glad to see him. Someone like that normally find a way to fizzle out the league, and you never hear from him again. But for him to keep fighting, keep playing, no matter what his role is, I do commend him, and I'm happy for him. Like I said, he got that pick, kind of sealed things up. Once Mixon punched it in, so I was happy for him for sure. He definitely someone that played well. Um, Now, what concern for me on the defense, and it rears its head against Ravens, Brown, is the linebacker play. I told you, like, now losing Akeem Davis Gaither was huge.
Mhm.
Was a huge loss. Um, Logan Wilson has started to fizzle out a little bit. Just looking at it, he's not making those splash plays, and we're honestly hearing his name less and less when it comes down to it. Jermaine Pratt, like I said, we're both really not PFF guys, but for what it's worth, he's not graded out very well these past 3-4 weeks. Um, What is there a concern for you far as the linebacker room and far as down the stretch where it's late November, it's December, we're going into January where you have to lean on your linebacker, especially to help stop the run. And the cover tight ends, especially in this division where you got Harrison, Bryant, Hooper, Andrews, and this week with Pat Fryermouth from for the Steelers and Eric Ebron. So is there a concern there as far as the linebackers?
I'm very concerned about the LBs. I think that was part of what we were alluding to when we spoke in the last episode about what teams have maybe found on tape and are taking advantage of and putting our linebackers in compromising situations and taking advantage of that right now. And Logan Wilson, this is year two for Logan Wilson, right?
Yes, year two. Yes.
Yeah. He did play a lot last year. Don't know if fatigue is an issue or not at all, and don't certainly want to make any excuses. But, looking at that situation, he, could also be slowing down a little bit because teams have enough tape on him to know what he does well and what he doesn't, do well. So it's going to be up to other guys to make plays. We saw Darius Hodge get plucked off of the Bengals practice squad and never got to really see him in there. This is something the Bengals actually did try to address. We got Joseph Asai in the third round, and he came out and had a heck of a game that first game against the Bucks starting offensive unit, and even sacked Tom Brady to get him off the field. So that was always going to be a miss and something that the Bengals were trying to compensate for. So, question is, what do they do at this point about it? It's obviously not a strength anymore, especially with Gaither going down. Um, I mean, you bring somebody off the street. What I will say is, if that does have to happen, linebacker is probably one of the easiest spots to possibly hit on, bringing somebody off the street. Because at the end of the day, it's still see ball, hit ball.
Right.
So I think maybe the Bengals want to look at it even from a depth standpoint because a lot of these guys are logging a lot more plays and snaps than maybe anticipated. Also, and Pratt is not an every down linebacker, so that's not going to work either. The Bengals are going to have to try to figure some things out. So yeah, 1 to 10, I'd probably put my concern with the linebackers right now at a 7.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty high. Mine is if you had to put a 1 to 10 on it, mine is a 9. And I kind of echo what Chris said here. I believe Wilson is the truth, but no one can do it alone. Losing ADG hurt, like Cam said. Pratt hasn't helped at all. I feel like the two backer set isn't effective in today's TE happy league. I think what the what the two linebackers does is it allows you to bring an extra safety on the field to cover that tight end. So I'm all for that. As long as you got the scheme in place. And I think we do, as far as, you got Bell, you got Bates, and you got Ricardo Allen. So however you want to work that, as far as guarding the tight end, that kind of make that work. I just feel like Wilson in the run game, has been really struggling. I know the Browns, I seen him on the ground several times, unfortunately, against the Browns. And like I said, they're a good run blocking offensive line, but you can't get pancaked and
Yeah.
blew out of the
Well,
hole.
it happened, and in their defense, Cleveland has done that to a lot of football teams over the past couple years because
Yes.
they've gotten back to their identity. Especially with OBJ being removed, and it's kind of sad that we may have been their coming out party, so to speak. But it's very important because we talked about what the offense is doing now, integrating Joe in there as the weather potentially changes and being able to salt away games and adjust to weather changes that might pop up. Well, it's the same thing defensively too, because other teams are going to do the same thing. And we play in the AFC North, as you mentioned, earlier. So people are going to be running the ball down the stretch. I anticipate us seeing a healthy dose of Najee Harris this Sunday when we play Pittsburgh, and he started to come on a little bit there in Pittsburgh. So the linebackers are certainly going to have to step up, or Sweet Lou's going to have to get on his horse and his brain thrust and figure something out, because this is the time of year where they're coming directly at you.
Yes, absolutely. Now we're gonna go wrap this up. We always like to wrap it up with game balls. Who do you have as far as your game? Well, we probably touched on it earlier. I think, but who are your game balls for this week?
Jodine is getting my
Jodine.
game ball on offense. Joe Mixon, I saw him at the UC game on Tuesday, last Tuesday. Me and Cam were joking, like, man, I hope he's ready. Well, he was certainly ready. Maybe that's what he needed, was a little R&R, get out, watch some basketball,
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
And on defense, Trey Hendrickson had a pretty good game, but that's not who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with a former first round pick from a college that has produced the most first round defensive backs over the past 30 years than any school. And if you think I'm lying, look it up.
Nah, you right.
And one Eli Apple from the. All right.
All right, my game balls. It's hard to give. Give it to anybody but Jodine. Jodine deserved that game ball. He was cooking. Well, we did see a gritty. We saw a gritty though.
I admit that
That
too.
always make my week when I get to see a gritty, man. So hey, we did get to see a gritty, but now Jodine, offensive game ball for me. And on defense, you say Eli Apple, so I'll go Trey Hendrickson. Six straight games with at least a sack. Uh, he has been the constant on this D line. He's on the pace for something crazy. You're talking about 16 ish sacks that he's on the pace for. That I will believe would break the single season record for the Bengals, right? Will I be right on that?
Yeah. Um, I believe so. Because doesn't Michael Johnson hold that right now?
Does he? That's something I have
We
to
have,
look
we
up.
have to look that up. We need a stat boy on
We
life in
we
the
do, we do, we do.
show. But also, and those aren't bad picks. I'm going to do something that I probably never anticipated doing, and people that follow me and us anticipate me doing either. How about we give a game ball to the Bengals head coach and Zach Taylor?
Mm, mm.
I think
Explain this game ball, sir.
outside of what you've been harping on, and it's true, outside of the script through the game, the first 12, 15 not being, great, again, he had a lot of opportunities during the game to deviate from that, go away from the run game, because Joe, like I said, was not necessarily gashing them at the beginning of the game, but he
Right.
stayed balanced throughout the entire game. And I think that's why you saw Tyler Boyd start to get back involved. We got to see a gritty, as you mentioned, and Joe got off. Is because Zach didn't give in to the pressure and decided to say, hey, we're going to keep this balanced game plan and we're going to try to dictate to them instead of the defense dictating to us. So I think Zach, having 2 weeks off and Lou together put together a good game plan. So I want to give a game ball to Zach Taylor first, and well, I won't say the last, but it's definitely the first game ball that I've given to Zach Taylor since he's been here.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go back to that question, the all-time season leader in sacks is Carlos Dunlap with 13 and a half.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Now we can go on and on for that. Yeah, we're not even go, we won't go there this evening.
Cam
Uh
is a Carlos Dunlap hater, by the way.
no, I'm not.
I'm
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
we
No, I'm
had a
not.
very healthy discussion off the record about Carlos Dunlap before he went to Vegas.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And it'll eventually come back around. I know it will. Uh, but as the players have to do, we will do as well. We're on to Pittsburgh. We're on to Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh week, and After the game last time, Tyler Boyd said some things. We made them quit. Pretty much. Mike Tomlin, press conference. He's straightforward, direct.
Matter
Uh,
of fact, Mike.
Matter of fact, Mike, and he looked ready to go. He looked like he was really want this game to happen. Um, what are your expectations for this game, and what do we have to do to get a victory?
Well, this is a crazy exciting week. You know when they say rivalry week, that is exactly what this is, both college and pro, because in your great state of Ohio that we're all from and live in, we have the game against that team up north this weekend, and then to have the Bengals play the Steelers in the same weekend. This is going to be either an extremely joyous weekend or it's going to be a painful one. So just depending on how you look at it and what happens, but I think number one, the Bengals do have to get off to a fast start because even though I believe we punted the first drive when we played them in Pittsburgh, we
You threw
came
a
back.
pick.
Well, yeah, Joe threw a pick. We did early in that game get on the board via the Pittsburgh kid himself, born and bred Tyler Boyd bouncing off a tackle, taking it to the end zone. And it is levels to this. And you can see after that that they did take it to a level that Pittsburgh, frankly, was not willing to go to that particular day. And that's why the Bengals took control of that game and didn't give it back. So I think the key is going to be getting off to a fast start. I haven't looked at Pittsburgh's injury report yet. TJ Watt is probably not going to be in this game either.
No,
Is
he's
it?
back. They all practicing.
Okay, he's practicing. Well, look, I listen. I knew when Big Ben stepped on the field last week. Let me tell you something. That didn't have anything to do with that game. He doesn't miss Cincinnati games, so he
At
had to
all.
get his feet wet, get his mulligans out, because he was going to be ready for the Bengals. I've seen this before. I've seen Big Ben look like he had a full body cast on, but he's ready to go against the Bengals. You can believe that. So that's what's going to happen. But I think we're going to have to force Roethlisberger to get uncomfortable in the pocket. He's not the same Big Ben. He's not going to be having three defenders hanging on him and still completing the ball 40 yards downfield. When you get after Ben right now, you can get him off of his feet, you can make him uncomfortable, and it changes things for Pittsburgh. So I really think getting pressure on Big Ben, getting off to an early start is going to be key, and letting our guys play. I'm still not sold on Pittsburgh's secondary, and if we have all our weapons out there, Jamar Chase had was it 2 touchdowns against Pittsburgh
Yep, he had
last
two of
game?
them things. And
Yeah,
we gotta remember the first time that we played them, if I'm not mistaken, T. Higgins was out.
yes.
T. Higgins was out of the game, so they got to deal with T. They got to deal with Jamar, and they got to deal with Tyler Boyd and Joe Dean. Joe Dean had a
And
good
let's
first game against the
see
Bills.
CJ Uzama get
Yes.
some plays as well directed towards him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that what made me mad. First play of the game, we run the tight end screen to Drew Sample. Why we not running that to CJ Uzama? When you run plays for Drew Samples, I feel that's working. That's working for the ops.
Yeah, we
That's helping the opposition, man. You
we spoke on
cannot
this
sit
before.
up here
We
and
don't.
run plays through. I understand if you go through your progressions, he open, you hit him, he makes a play. Cool, I'm down with that. But you to actually draw something up and say we gonna hit you with this tight end screen, no, it shouldn't be done.
Well,
It's,
I tell you what, Vegas certainly probably wasn't expecting it.
and guess what? He tripped over his own feet and got 2 yards.
Turfmeister got him again.
Yeah, the turf monster got him. The 22-yard line reached up and tripped him up.
We make it a habit of trying not to single guys out on life in the jungle. We're still not trying to do so, but
No,
I'm just not a big fan of Drew Sample, and in particular when you have somebody like Uzama who has been eating and doing very well this year, having a career season, coming back off his own injury right now. There are better options. We'll just say that.
exactly. I got Corey Brooker in the building. Saying, sorry, I'm late. Just came to say, Ken, look, I had a good time in Vegas. Yeah, I definitely had fun, man. Enjoyed myself. Definitely had a great time. He also says Drew Sample for me is the equivalent of number 17 for the Buckeyes. Why?
Ah,
Why he out there? Who paying who? Now I'll get credit. Corey every week talking about number 17. The score could be 49-0. They give up 7. He goes number 17. So he been consistent on that.
I had a bird's eye view of Shaw during that game, and he gave up his normal, 2 or 3 plays, but it just so happened that on senior day, the Buckeyes were humming, and it didn't really result in any damage getting out of there, 59-7. But yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, in this game, obviously a fast start. You just want to play mistake free. Don't get behind the chains. You don't want to get caught up in the holdings, false starts, putting yourself in first and 15, putting yourself in second and 15, second and 20s, things like that, because you don't want them to start pinning their ears back. TJ Watt seems like he'll be back. So you don't want him pinning his ears back, getting to the quarterback, knowing that we're gonna pass. So we want to be able to keep them off balance. Um, Attack down the field, stretch the field. And when I mean stretch the field, I feel like sometimes it seems like only Jamar Chase can go deep. Like, throw it up to Higgins. Let him go get one. You know what I mean? I want to see us stretch the field, especially against the secondary that may not have Joe Hayden. I think he didn't practice today. So that's a chink in their secondary, one of their better players. So you look at that. I want to take advantage of that. I feel like you can still run the ball on Pittsburgh. We ran the ball effectively against them. You're not gonna gash them for 6 yards of carry or nothing like that, but if you can get, the 4 yards, 3.5, 4 yards of carry, that's something that could really help this offense.
Well, and you got to keep them honest either way, which is again why I shouted out Zach for not deviating away from that in the Oakland game and doing that. That sets the table for when you do have games like this against Pittsburgh, where, like you said, you're probably not going to come in and gas them or run for 200 yards, but then again, having those other options, I was thinking about maybe possibly some seam routes or something like that, mixing in with Uzama or Tyler Boyd, because I want to make them pay. If Pittsburgh is going to come up and act like they're the Blitzburgh of old, which they're not, because I don't believe they're as talented as the Pittsburgh teams that we've seen over the years, then make them pay. We have enough weapons on the outside where somebody's going to be open, and I hope that we can also feed off of the crowd. I think the crowd is going to be an important element to this game. Pittsburgh travels well since it's only about 5 hours away from
Yeah, they
you
travel
know,
well.
Cincinnati, and
Don't sell your tickets to those bums.
I don't want to see all those damn terrible towels waving. I know there'll be a few in there, particularly for people that ain't even never stepped in Pittsburgh, their entire life. But that's another conversation. So, fans, bring it if you're going down there on Sunday. Bengals need to feed off of that energy, sort of like we did last year in that Monday night victory we got over them,
Yeah.
and improve to 7-4, and things will be looking good down the stretch.
And like I said, it's something different, but 7-4, 6-5. We say this about every record, but it just sounds so much better. And just to think, you can go 7-4, sweep Pittsburgh. So that means not only would you be uh there will be five, I believe it would be 5-1 at that point if you beat them. So
Yeah.
you're looking at a pretty much a 2.5 game lead considering that you have the tiebreaker. So this game obviously is not doom and gloom if we lose, but this game can really have you looking good in the division, 3-1 in the division. So hey, it's a big one, and we got to try to find a way to bring it home. And defensively, we gotta get after Big Ben, move him off his spot. Uh, I am kind of concerned. Like I don't know how, but they dropped 37 points last week, which I don't know how, especially with the players that the Chargers have. Um,
I mean, the Chargers have great individual players on their defense, Derwin James, and I don't even want to mention that all pro defensive end that shrugs his shoulders when he makes a sack or where he went to school at. Gets kind of repetitive on here. I don't know if anybody else picks up on that, but anyway, so no, what
When
I'm
we
trying
doing
to
this show in a couple years, it's gonna be like he went to yeah, he went to UC, it's gonna happen.
yeah, okay, hey, I think Sauce Gardner is a viable first round option for the Bengals if they don't address the offensive line and free agency.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so too.
getting another corner like Sauce Gardner. But no, in all seriousness, I think the Chargers have great individual players. I still don't look at them and say, man, that's a juggernaut, defense. So I can see how, if Pittsburgh game planned well enough that happened and they got out there to do that. So what did Corey say?
No, he just started. Corey was just laughing at the fact we was going, talk about our Ohio State and UC stuff. But it's a big game, man, and we got to come out ready. I think they'll be focused. I think they'll be ready to go. Um, Obviously, like I said, we don't want to get behind to where they start pinning their ears back. But one thing that is concerning is if we don't, because last time we got up and then we let them dink and doink and it was fine. You know, I don't feel like we can do that this time. Let them dink and doink and eat up a whole bunch of clock because they own time of possession last time we played. We just struck with quick plays.
Yeah,
So we have to make sure that we sustain drives, and like you said, get up quick. So then them thinking doinks is like, a new point at that issue. I mean, at that point. So let's uh let's talk predictions. Pittsburgh Bengals, 1 o'clock Sunday. Who comes out victorious?
not that this is going to determine the score of my prediction, but do we know what uniforms the Bengals are wearing?
Orange. They wearing that orange.
Woo!
They wearing that. I think they wearing the right black pants too this time.
Okay, well that's the uniform that we popped them with on Monday night last year. So maybe
We
they tried to bring
did.
some of that Aju. Now y'all see Cam has the Pharaoh
Hey,
jersey and all
yeah, I matched him with the chain. Yeah.
that. Oh man. See, other than the first week of the season where I nailed the score and how the Bengals were gonna win exactly, I've been struggling. And I'm a little ashamed. Last week we didn't do, a show because of the bye week. But, they asked me at work and I actually said Las Vegas 42, Bengals 21. But I didn't have much to go off of other than our performance the previous 2 weeks at the time. So the Bengals are going to come home and they are going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-17.
Woo! 35 on Pitt.
Yep.
Ooh, I would love it if we smack Pittsburgh like that. I would love it. Honestly, that would be like a changing of the guard. Like y'all better find a new quarterback. I better do something, or we're gonna keep whooping y'all for years to come. No, Corey, I'm kind of echoing what he said there. Honestly, not worried about this game. Easy to get up for rivalry games. It's the mediocre non-conference games that worry me. Um, I think they'll be ready to go for this one. It's a genuine dislike as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think we really ready to prove that, you know what, the days of you beating us, being the bullies on the block is over. You know what I mean? Y'all can come and try with that little dirty stuff, chippy stuff. We just gonna explode on you
TJ
for big
Watt
plays.
tripping people and stuff.
And did you see your boy from the punching people, Cam
I
Hayward?
All I see is Cam Hayward still making plays out there.
Yeah, and I know you see him punch Justin Herbert too. But they get away with murder. But I got the Bengals winning. I got the Bengals winning. I have them winning 24-13. I don't Pittsburgh offense don't scare me. They don't scare me. Um, Deontay Johnson, I don't think he played the first time we played against him, but so that might be a
I
little
thought he
bit of an
was
issue.
out there. I just, I don't. I'm like you. I don't really fear Pittsburgh this year. I really don't. Now, that's all up to the Bengals to come out and reinforce that by getting up early and playing same intensity level that they played, first matchup against Pittsburgh. And I think if they do that, they'll be fine. I mean, they are clearly the better football team.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think they're a better football team, top to bottom.
Where's that
Uh,
guy at this always like trolling like a day late and a dollar short? When you know who I'm talking about, the Pittsburgh fan, he gets on here, he looks like the dude off of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Crazy Eddie.
uh,
The
uh,
dude is always writing, comments after the show is over, the Pittsburgh guy. Remember I told you?
oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah. I just tell you wherever he at, he come on and post to go Pittsburgh. Well, this week y'all about to take a L like y'all took a L last week, and y'all tied to the Lions.
Yeah, he
Okay,
said Big Ben owns you though. I said when?
I said lost his last two
This
against him.
is
He
a
struggling.
new day.
New day for who day?
DEY.
New day for who day? You know, and I am excited for the game. But I think we win, man. I think I'm confident about it. I think the bye
Joe
week is
shows
what we
up in
needed
these
to
big
reset.
games, though, right?
What you say?
I said Joe shows up in these big games, though. Like that.
I
This
think
is
he does. Outside
he
the
likes
Cleveland
this.
game, but I think he does. I think he does show up. It'd be something to see. I thought that maybe the Chargers and Bengals game would get flexed into Sunday night. However, it did not. Um, so that's cool. You know, we'll take the 1 o'clock
You
slot.
don't want no prime time game. Just keep it normal, man.
Hey, man, that's the old, old talking, scared to be at prime time. You know, we got Joey, we got Joe D, we got Jamar. And we got a defense that's definitely looking improved, looking top 15.
Let's
So,
let's earn our way to prime time by making a playoff appearance. How about that?
yep, absolutely. And Corey Booker talk about Cam Hayward. Talking about, I seen nothing. Yeah, I bet you didn't see nothing either, Corey. Uh, and before we end the show, he's on another note. My boy had a couple left hand layups this past weekend that would have made Coach Cam proud. That work helping out already. Appreciate it, Corey, man. I just try to help out any way possible. Um, try to get the kids better. So I'm glad that everything that we put together and that we worked on is coming to fruition in live action. That's what it's for. That's what I try to put together. So put things together that they can use in live situations. So I'm happy about that. No, thank you, Corey. I appreciate working with your son. But hey, that's it. We back. Life in the Jungle, episode 13. Guess who back? We back. Life in the Jungle back. And hopefully, Bengals this week get a W so we can talk about another one. And like I say, the show is always better when you're talking and recapping a dub.
I already
Happy
had a
Thanksgiving.
title. I already had a title for next episode if they make it three in a row against Pittsburgh. I don't want to drop it because I'm
Nah,
superstitious.
don't drop it. Oh, no, we ain't go jinx it. We just go hold on to it. We
We'll
gonna
just
hold on
wait.
to it. Appreciate it, Corey. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone
Happy
that's
Thanksgiving,
watching.
everybody, man.
Ye-
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Y'all enjoy your food. Don't eat too much. We out.